This is Brian, ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is 2013 We Are What We Are, directed by Jim Mickle. It was written and directed things like Stakeland, Mulberry Street, and We Are What We Are. And this is a genre movie. Now, technically speaking, the word genre is just indicating a different type of something. For instance, you have the comedy genre, you have the superhero genre, you have romance. It's just an indicator of what something is. But let's be clear, that is not typically the way the word genre is used. By my reckoning, it's usually used in a very disparaging manner. And when people talk about genre film, they're particularly referring to things like horror films, which I think it doesn't deserve. Because while there are some horror films that are just ridiculous, as in really bad, there are also some horror films that are remarkable, nuanced movies. Whether the subject matter is supernatural or a cryptid, it doesn't really matter. The point is that it tackles the subject matter with a certain degree of sensitivity and thoughtfulness. So I'm always leery when someone uses the term genre movie, because it sounds to me like they're reducing something into as small a space as possible, when conversely, it could be in a bigger space, it could be seen by more people. Mickle has created and directs Netflix's Sweet Tooth, which I haven't seen because it seems to revolve around a boy with deer antlers in an apocalyptic setting, which looks a little odd to me. Though having seen We Are What We Are, I will take a look at Sweet Tooth because it is a pretty impressive movie. And as I implied, We Are What We Are is one of those odd movies where virtually everything works. In the sense that good production design, good costume design shouldn't be noticeable to the viewer. By which I mean you obviously see it, but you don't necessarily pay that much attention to it because everything fits like a puzzle, a well-assembled puzzle. And it just comes together and it flows. And so you don't notice little things within the whole piece. And We Are What We Are epitomizes this tendency. The production design is excellent. The costume design is excellent. The acting is, for the most part, excellent. Everything just works in this movie. The story of We Are What We Are revolves around a family that exists in a small town. And they are cannibals. But they've lived this way for years, if not generations of this family. And it's what they know. And so eventually there's a storm that cuts off the town from other areas. And the waters begin to rise. And with those waters rising, secrets are unveiled as well. And what makes this movie, for me, work so well is that it feels more like a documentary than a horror movie. Everything feels authentic. I am not terribly familiar with most of the actors that are in the film. I'll get to that in a minute. Though it just feels like a slice of life is being shown to you, as opposed to a movie. As a viewer, you get very much caught up in the tale that is being told. And though it's not necessarily a world that I am familiar with, it is one that's totally involving and immersive. It's shockingly well done. I mentioned production design, costume design, and things of that nature earlier, and it's worth repeating that nothing sticks out. Everything just feels seamless. I accepted everything I saw on screen as a real thing with real people. I didn't debate it. And part of that was due to the fact, besides the great production design, costume design, and so forth, that I didn't recognize the actors for the most part. So there was nothing to pull me out of the film. For instance, I recognized Kurt Russell's son, and he was very good in this movie. Though, more importantly, I recognized Julia Gardner from Netflix's Ozark. And she is remarkable. She has this uncanny ability to indicate what she's feeling just by the movement of her eyes, or maybe the way her mouth moves. Just an actor who is brilliant at what she does. This ability that she possesses is not a blatant one. It's a very subtle one, though it has the ability to convince you of what she's thinking just by a look. And I don't see that very often, and it's remarkable. This movie transcends genre by my reckoning. It's just a really good movie that happens to revolve around cannibalism. It's not overly gory, it's not special effects heavy, it just tells a story remarkably well. By my reckoning, one of the benefits of horror is that it covers all sorts of things. Sometimes it's very ostentatious, sometimes it's silly, and like in the case of We Are What We Are, it is subtle, it is multifaceted, and it's a story of family. So what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.